Welcome to the Wolf Sports Show. Trusted, proven analysis of all 32 teams every week during the NFL season. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Wolf Sports Show. The Eagles and the Bills remain as the only unbeaten teams in the NFL after 4 weeks. So pretty quick in terms of 30 teams having at least one loss. Speaks to the parity right now, though there are some teams that are struggling mightily and winless still. For this week's episode, let's just look back at what happened in week 4 and recap each matchup. So going through all 16 matchups, all 32 teams. We'll just go in order, and also keep in mind that bye weeks start this week with the Falcons, Bears, Packers, and Steelers all on their bye. 1 week ago on Thursday Night Football, the Seahawks won, held on against the Cardinals, were in complete control for most of the game. Then Arizona got going, wearing those awesome rivalry uniforms, first team to wear those. The Seahawks, with the way Sam Darnold is taking care of the ball still, a team that isn't really beating themselves. Jackson Smith-Njigba at receiver has a great connection with Sam Darnold and is becoming one of the biggest stars in the league. On the other side, Marvin Harrison Jr., secondary receiver, struggled early in the game, and you could see Kirk Herbstreit said it well. It was the same exact word I was thinking. Said you could see the relief in him when he caught that big touchdown over Devin Witherspoon. Ideally, that's something Harrison builds on because, as stated last week, they need guys to step up with James Conner out, and now Trey Benson, second-year running back, also out with a knee injury. Going to miss 4 to 6 weeks. But the Cardinals have lost 2 straight. Need to get on track with a win against the Titans. Moving to Sunday, the first morning game of the season, this one in Dublin, first game in Ireland in NFL history. Steelers, a similar game to Thursday, where they felt in good control. Other teams stormed back, but Pittsburgh held on, won 24-21. Kenneth Gainwell had 99 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, filling in for Jaylen Warren, who was out with the knee injury, and the 80-yard touchdown strike from Aaron Rodgers to DK Metcalf in the first half was huge. Pittsburgh took care of the ball, defense made enough plays, and now at 3-1 in an NFC North that's reeling behind them as they head into their bye week. Minnesota offensive line totally decimated, made things tougher. That situation remains interesting as Carson Wentz got things going down the stretch in the comeback attempt. They stay in Europe for a game in London now against the Browns. Facing that Cleveland defense will be a good test to see where they are before heading back to the U.S. The Falcons more than got on track. The offense performed at an ideal level in a 34-27 win against the Commanders, with Michael Penix Jr. playing well at quarterback, and the trio of skill players, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, all scored touchdowns, all had chunk gains. That's what you want to see, and a good change, it looks like, based off one game, bringing Zach Robinson, the offensive coordinator, from the booth to the field. The Commanders had a fine game offensively, solid in the second start for Marcus Mariota at quarterback this year. Hit Luke McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel for touchdowns, but the defense obviously has to get much better. Too many big plays allowed, but on offense, it looks like Jaden Daniels will be back at quarterback this week after practicing fully yesterday, getting cleared by doctors. The Giants stunned and upset the Chargers 21-18. Unfortunately, came at a cost. Malik Neighbors done for the year with a torn ACL. Tough to see for one of the game's best young stars, but they were without him for most of Sunday and still got their first win of the season. Brian Daboll did a good job of putting Jackson Dart in position to have success in his first start, running concepts and things he was comfortable with. Dart's legs were a weapon, is already banged up a little bit, so ideally not relying too much on all that throughout the course of a season and a career, but definitely an energy for the Giants after the home win, their first win of the season against a really good Chargers team. Los Angeles lost Joe Alt for several weeks due to a high ankle sprain in the loss. Felt like an off day for the team. Ladd McConkey, a couple of uncharacteristic drops. Justin Herbert couldn't get much going, was under pressure. As positives for them, Omarion Hampton, the rookie running back, handled a really heavy workload, the only running back to get touches for them. Broke a long touchdown, which is sort of his trademark, and the best part about his game is big playability. And then Quentin Johnston at receiver continues to emerge as a top target for Herbert. Looking ahead to this week, Commanders-Chargers is an interesting matchup. The Titans made the play caller change on offense. Clearly didn't help much. Were shut out by the Texans 26-0. Cameron Ward getting frustrated, said bluntly how bad the team is right now. For Houston, it took some time to get going. Eventually, 2 touchdowns from rookie running back Woody Marks. Nick Chubb also looked good on the ground. Nico Collins at receiver. They'll look to build on that against an injured Ravens defense this week. Overall, of course, an encouraging sign for Houston to get on the board now at 1-3. The offense really struggled in the second half, but the Eagles improved to 4-0, getting a big win at Tampa Bay, 31-25. Aside from the opening kickoff, their first special teams play was a block punt, return for a touchdown, so sort of 2 straight return kicks for touchdowns for Philly. When you go back to the game-winning block field goal returned by Jordan Davis the week before against the Rams. Jihad Campbell, rookie linebacker, had a key interception of Baker Mayfield with the Bucs driving in the second half. 2 key plays for a team just finding ways to win. But again, the offense, there's definite concern. A.J. Brown, star receiver, not happy at all. You've got to keep an eye on that with the Broncos coming to town this week, and they have Patrick Surtain at corner, the defensive player of the year who might shadow Brown, so keep an eye on that. For the Bucs, Bucky Irving at running back had a long touchdown, and Mecca Ibuka had a long touchdown in the comeback attempt last week, but Irving now dealing with the foot injury. He's week to week, looks like uncertain for Sunday against the Seahawks. You've got to like the way the defense stepped up though in the second half for Tampa to make it a game after getting handled pretty comfortably at home in the first half against the defending champions. Also, it was good to see Chris Godwin back for the Bucs, and that'll be big as he gets back into the swing of things, and eventually they get Mike Evans back, receiver 2, for a loaded roster. Patriots blew out the Panthers 42-13. New England a much better job of taking care of the ball. Drake May very efficient on offense. Trevion Henderson found the end zone. We'll see if they unleash him more against Buffalo this Sunday on Sunday Night Football. Defense, the first game with Christian Gonzalez in 2025. So we'll see. This will be a good measuring stick for them against the Bills. The Panthers went from destroying the Falcons 30-0 to that performance. Just not much consistency or identity right now for them. The Dolphins are up next for Carolina. The Bills, it was somewhat close in the fourth quarter. A late touchdown from Josh Allen to Dalton Kincaid gave them a bit of a cushion with just over 7 minutes to go to make it a 2-score game. Cole Bishop's one-handed interception on a trick play attempted by the Saints was sort of a turning point. Hopefully the defense gets Ed Oliver and Matt Milano back for the AFC East battle in primetime. The Saints was a loss, but again was close really towards the end of the game for New Orleans. So good bounce back from the week before when they lost to Seattle in ugly fashion. Part of what's made them competitive through 3 or 4 games, I think, is the offensive line, the resources they've invested there. Maybe the most important position to be strong at is offensive line, aside from quarterback. For the Lions, won by 24 against the Browns. The offense was solid. The defense and special teams, Khalif Raymond had a punt return touchdown. Led the way, though. On offense, some deep shots to Jameson Williams just missed. Maybe they can get that going against the Bengals defense that struggled this weekend. For the Browns, there wasn't a ton Joe Flacco could do against that defense in Detroit. Very tough place to play, but Cleveland's making a quarterback switch, going with rookie Dylan Gabriel. The decision comes as they head across the pond to face the Vikings, so that ups the degree of difficulty a little bit for Gabriel as they go to another country for his first start, but I can't blame them. They want to see what they have at quarterback. Of course, needs to take care of the ball against Brian Flores' defense, and certainly a strong first test in his first career start. Jaguars-Niners, the post-game words between Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen and 49ers defense coordinator Robert Saleh sort of dominated the headlines, but Jacksonville, that's a massive win at San Fran to improve to 3-1. Fourth-year linebacker Devin Lloyd had another interception, his 3rd of the season already, and the Jaguars defense 3+ turnovers in all 4 games. Travis Etienne Jr. had a long touchdown run. I like how they are feeding him. 19 carries last week. Extremely talented player, former first-round pick, who for some reason was discredited and counted out by many. We'll see if that formula can work against the Chiefs this Monday night. The Niners are concerned that it feels like in terms of injuries, it doesn't feel like it's just turning to October. Feels like it's late in the season with how beat up they are. Tonight against the Rams, early NFC West battle. Got to take better care of the ball. And speaking of the Rams, they beat the Colts, handed Indy their first loss of the season, 27-20. Tutu Atwell got loose for an 88-yard touchdown late, where a defender slipped in coverage. Puka Nacua, by far leading the NFL in receiving through 4 games. He's stayed healthy and is obviously a major weapon with a great rapport with Matthew Stafford. Devontae Adams scored a touchdown again, 3 straight games for him. And Cam Curl had 2 interceptions in the Week 4 win. No doubt a healthier team than the Niners heading into tonight. The Colts, there were opportunities to win. Might have been differently if not for the Adonai Mitchell. It wasn't really a showboat thing to me, and mistakes happened. He was just switching the ball in his hand and sort of held it out as he crossed the goal line. Guys do that all the time, and it just slipped out of his hand. It was a touchback instead of a touchdown, and again, it happened, sort of an accident, really. But at 3-1 after 4 games, faced the Raiders this week, a good spot, playing at home. Vegas struggling a bit in terms of taking care of the ball, as the Colts have a chance to get to 4-1. Speaking of the Raiders, lost in heartbreaking fashion to the Bears, blocked field goal to end the game when they had a shot to win it on the field goal by Daniel Carlson. That said, the interception from Geno Smith, 3 picks, leads the NFL in interceptions. Offensive line must improve, as stated last week, but they had 3 touchdowns from Ashton Genty, rookie running back, getting on track, and Geno traded a day 2 pick for him. He's got to take better care of the football. Meanwhile, the Bears, heading into their bye at 2-2, 2 straight wins, seem to have gotten good buy-in under Ben Johnson. And after their bye, a trip to Washington, where that Hail Mary happened last season, is what looms, so that'll be fun to watch. The final late afternoon game from last week, the big one, turned out to be a major disappointment. The Chiefs coasted against the Ravens 37-20. Baltimore, more injuries. All-pro linebacker Roquan Smith going to miss time due to a hamstring. All-pro nickelback Marlon Humphrey going to miss time due to a calf injury. And then Lamar Jackson is uncertain due to a hamstring. Even before Jackson left the game, things didn't look good. Seemed like a lot of bad energy. Maybe pressing too much against the AFC rival. Derrick Henry not getting the ball nearly enough even before the game got out of hand. And Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, they commented on it and I agreed. Henry had like 4 carries for, I don't know, I think it was 30-something yards and wasn't getting the ball enough, especially you wanted to keep the Chiefs off the field. Your defense was run all over by Detroit the previous week, probably somewhat tired from that short week playing on Monday night. And then Kansas City was clicking on offense, got Xavier Worthy back. Looks like they're back as a unit. Patrick Mahomes 4 touchdowns for the first time since 2023, and a scary sight after an 0-2 start with the way the defense looks and how the offense seemingly joining them as playing at a high level. On Sunday Night Football, a 40-40 tie in overtime between the Packers and the Cowboys for Micah Parsons' return to Dallas. Pretty crazy that was the result with all the talk. Some bad blood between the Parsons side, especially the agent, and how the negotiations went, and Jerry Jones. Jones was thrilled with the way Dak Prescott, his quarterback, stepped up in a tough environment. No CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens played outstanding, made plays. Javonte Williams rejuvenated there in Dallas at running back. They were hurt on the offensive line, overcame that to put up 40 points, basically completely neutralized Parsons. And yeah, the defense for the Cowboys, of course, a concern. Packers had a lot of success, both on the ground and through the air. I think Green Bay, good time for the bye maybe. Defense regroup and look to get back to the level they were playing the first 3 games. And then the Monday Night Football doubleheader from Week 4. Dolphins beat the Jets. Held off a late comeback attempt there as well. Tyreek Hill done for the year with a devastating knee injury. Was really tough to see. Look for them to play through Devon Achane like they did on Monday night, now at 1-3. And again, the schedule promising on paper to maybe climb back into things. Also for Miami, Darren Waller in his team debut, first game in a couple of years, caught 2 touchdowns. So he's a potential weapon, especially in scoring territory in Mike McDaniel's offense. The Jets, not really good enough to turn the ball over, make mistakes, and win games. Still learning how to win under Aaron Glenn, it looks like. Face the Cowboys this Sunday. The Broncos beat the Bengals 28-3. That Denver defense at home especially, they're now 2-0 at home. The 2 losses on the road on last-second field goals. At home, it's going to be tough to move the ball and score on them, it looks like. Great challenge this week at the Eagles. For Cincinnati, things can't get much worse on offense. Now under 200 yards in 3 of their first 4 games. The first time that's happened since the 2009 Raiders. Frustration is evident. Need to somehow spread the ball around to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, Mike Gesicki, and open things up. Somehow get them the ball in space. Easier said than done, I guess, but so much talent at the skill positions. Keep in mind they just faced the Vikings and the Broncos on the road in both cases. So maybe the panic button shouldn't totally be pressed, but need some type of a jolt there in Cincy if they're going to stay in things currently at 2-2. So looking ahead to the Week 5 schedule, looks good on paper. Niners-Rams, we'll see if the Niners can hang in there with so many injuries. And I'm anxious to see Sunday Night Football if the Patriots can compete with the Bills. And remember, another early game, Sunday morning, 9:30 Eastern, the first London game of 2025. Enjoy all these matchups. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel right here on YouTube, and you can also find the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time.